Hi, my name's Andrew Clacher and welcome to the third part of a 3-video series showing how I painted a little painting based on a cycle ride I took with my family just a couple of weeks ago. This is the third video and the final video, and I'm just going to show the final parts of the painting. So far I've painted the sky, and I've painted the grass and the farm buildings in the distance, and I'm just now coming in and putting the kind of final touches ready, but I'm just almost finished painting the trees on the left hand side that are behind the field on the left. Now you can see I've just zoomed in and I'm just showing how I'm coming in and working on this middle tree in the middle of the picture. It's a large, very large willow, and I'm just coming in and putting some more shadow in it and working, making it a little bit darker. I'm worried that I might go a bit too dark in it, so I'm just trying to keep it light, trying to keep light brush strokes, and just trying to give the effect of the shadow. I don't want it to be too heavy though. I want to try and make it a feature, but I don't want it to dominate and take away from the details in the farm. I'm just putting a little bit more detail in these trees on the left hand side, and I'm much more happy with these. I seem to have got a better effect. I've not overworked them, so I have the risk still of overworking it, so I want to try to stop before that happens, but I'm quite pleased with the effect I've got. I've used a variety of brush strokes to create these kind of, I think they're tall, thin trees, maybe poplars. And think about that when you're painting trees. Just think about how you can change the speed and direction of your brush stroke to create the effect of whatever tree it is. Right, well, I've finished those trees on the left, and as predicted, I think I've overworked them. I'm just coming down to the grass below these trees now and using a bit of cadmium yellow, just brushing it over to try and get a bit of luminosity to the grass and a little bit of contrast, sort of warm yellow against the cooler greens in the background. And I'm just building into the grass and adding different highlights, some different darks, just to try and bring the grassy area to life. Right, the next thing is to paint the large tree in the foreground and the cyclist. I have to make an admission. While making the film, I have accidentally left the camera not running while I was painting the tree and the cyclist. So what I've done is I've decided to repaint the tree and the cyclist so that you can see how I do it. I've mixed 4 colours for the tree: a dark green for the left hand side of the tree, a lighter green with a bit more cadmium yellow in, a purpley kind of grey colour for the tree trunk, and a kind of dark green for some bits of the tree trunk and also for the darker bits. Okay, right, so I've drawn out the tree in pencil, 2B pencil, and I've also drawn out some of the details below it, Ben and the fence. I just thought it would be handy for you to see how it all works. So I'm starting off painting the tree trunk, just trying to be quite nice and loose, painting up from the bottom with the dark purpley grey colour, and painting in the bits of branch that you can see through the tree. Just trying to work nice and loosely, and as I go further up, the branches become obviously less, thinner. Try to use a nice kind of staccato kind of technique. I will switch to a finer brush, to a rigger brush, when I get near to the ends. Now I need to work quite quickly, because what I want to do is I want to put the leaves, the green area, onto it before the branches dry. So I'm just going to quickly add with the rigger brush some finer branches. So I've added the branches, that's probably enough detail, and now I'm going to come with a bigger brush, go straight into the darker green, and use brushwork, a dragging brushwork technique to suggest the leaves. It's so easy to overdo this, and I probably will in fact, but just try to drag it across, try and get the texture of the paper and the light shining through the paper as you work. So as you see, I'm working around, I'm trying to get each kind of clump of leaves on each branch, and I'm working my way around. So just keep working round, change the angle of your brush so it suggests the movement and direction of the leaves, and I'm almost done. Just carry on working that way. You'll see it's gradually building up, just trying to be really delicate. Now I quickly come on and start adding in the fence posts. You can see that I'm using a rigger brush, and I'm using the side of it and just dabbing it down just to suggest the texture. It's kind of quite an easy way to do it, and it gives us something more realistic feel to the I'm now adding the colour of the lane. It's kind of I guess a kind of brick colour, and after I do that, I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to just quickly put in the grass areas, just nice and loosely, leaving lots of light, and then I'll be able to focus on the other details. just coming on now to putting in some indications of the grass behind. And you can see that with this picture I've put the tree in first and I'm putting the fields in after, just putting those lightly patching the grass in between the posts and the tree, and it works perfectly fine. So it's a different order to what I did in my main painting, but it's working really nicely. In fact, it could be working better, so just working on both sides. So on to my favourite bit, shadows. It always helps to bring a picture to life, and I'm just working on the shadow that has been cast by the main tree trunk really. It's coming across, and under that area there I'm actually made quite a bright green, and I've used that kind of brighter green also on the other side of the lane for the area that's grassy. And for the path bit I'm mixing a more of a purpley colour with a bit more red in it, just to try and indicate the warmth in on the path. It's important to really look carefully to this shadow. Is going to be describing the form and shape of the path, the way that the bank drops down onto the lane and then up again on the other side. Now I'm adding more shadows, and as I add them, the picture starts to come to life, hopefully. Shadows being cast from the posts, shadows being cast by the little stones and pebbles, little shadows in the grass. It's just all little shadows, and suddenly light, light is kind of made really. I mean, without the shadows, it doesn't seem like there's light shining, but as soon as the shadows go in, then it makes it seems to make this lovely feeling of light. So I'm starting to paint the figure. Now this strikes terror in many a painter. It can be tricky, but it's surprising. With practice you'll improve very, very quickly. Two kind of things really, I think, is make sure that you've really got the proportions right, you've really looked carefully at the drawing, and you've got the balance. You know, is the figure leaning to one side, is it upright? With the cyclist here, he's pretty upright, maybe even leaning slightly to the left, and I'm just really focusing on that. And the other thing, apart from the proportions, is less really is more in this. Try to describe each part, his legs, the bike, with as few brushstrokes as possible. And I like to drag the brush across, so the texture, you get this broken effect, and it looks like a sort of flickering effect of light. As soon as you start sort of almost filling in paint by numbers, any figure will look very static, almost like a statue in the middle of your figure. So if you just use light, delicate brushstrokes, when the viewer views the painting, their imagination will make up the rest, and they could swear that they'll think that you've put a lot of detail in, but actually you've done the opposite. You've put less detail in, and by doing that you create the desired effect. So I'm almost finished this little sketch, and just to remind you, the reason I've done this little sketch is just to show you how I painted the tree and the figures, but it's ended up being almost a painting in itself. In fact, I think I might prefer the sketch to the final painting. But hopefully it's been helpful, and you can see how really through brushwork and limited brushwork you can create the tree effect and the shadows and the figure cycling. Remember, less is more. I'm adding details of the wires between the fence posts. Just be careful when you're adding these, just to not make it too heavy. Use a nice fine rigger brush and just lightly let the brush dance across the paper, just to suggest where the wires are. Well, I think I've almost finished. I'm just putting the final touches on, and I think on the whole I'm quite pleased with this one. And as I said before, I think I maybe prefer it to the actual main painting that I've been painting for the video. But there we go. Anyway, there's good things and bad things, but hopefully that's helped you with you know, how to paint the tree and the figures. And there we go, that's the final picture with the trees painted and the figure on a bike. It's all done. And yeah, I'm sorry that you didn't see me actually paint the tree and the figure, but hopefully you get an idea of how that was done. And I think, on the whole, I'm quite pleased. Well, hopefully you've enjoyed watching the video as much as I've enjoyed making it. If you enjoyed it, please visit my channel again. I usually do kind of videos most weeks, and it'd be lovely to have you back.